And the truth is, there are limits. That's why the First Amendment has limits to it, and that's why you've got to have some limits. Otherwise, people do what Kanye West did, which, by the way...
No, for the past 10 plus years, this wokeism, this leftism, this censorship regime has been running wild, and it's time to put this shit to an end. We're at a point now where we need to set boundaries, set standards, and we gotta let people know that we're not taking this bullshit no more. People are tired of the censorship.
This whole, I think what we've just established with Myron, with respect to him, is that when you try and be a free speech absolutist, it gets very complicated very quickly. Because I can't for the life of me, and maybe you can articulate it better, but I can't for the life of me understand why Elon Musk, with his action yesterday, censors the legal pornography. And by the way, I agree with him. He should have done that. But that he doesn't censor any of the blatantly illegal things that Kanye was spewing. Notably, the fact that you should treat Jews like slaves and whip them. That is actually a crime in America, to encourage people to do that, to incite that level of... Well, hang on, Myron, I'm going to zoom here. It seems to me that once you get into absolutism about this, it just gets complicated very fast.
Yeah, you're right. Look, it does get complicated, and the reality is that different people have different lines. Different nations have different lines. Every single country has different laws when it comes to freedom of speech, freedom of expression, even things that are graphic, visual things like pornography and so on. Some people will say that falls under freedom of speech. Some people will say that it doesn't. Going beyond that, though, this is all happening on a platform, and social media platforms have the right to set their boundaries where they want the boundaries to be. On Facebook and YouTube, for example, you absolutely cannot post pornography in any form. However, on X/Twitter, for whatever reason, throughout its entire history, they have allowed that. A lot of people oppose it, but for whatever reason, they let that go. So the truth is, ultimately, we can discuss the First Amendment, we can discuss laws in different countries, but I think in this particular case, the question is really about X and the X policies and what is enforced and what is not enforced and what crosses the line and what doesn't. I would absolutely say, look, I don't even think I saw every single thing that Kanye posted. I don't use X on Sundays, but from what I saw, the vast majority of the posts were...
I think Zuby's a devout Christian, chat. I think that's why he doesn't go on X on Sundays. Which, I can respect that, man. I can respect that. Like I said before, he's a bit nicer and refined than I am. But I think we're at a point now where we can't really talk nicely with these motherfuckers anymore. Okay. Like, look, Zuby is very well-spoken, very nice. He doesn't swear, by the way. He makes rap music and he doesn't swear, which I could respect that. But I'm at a point now, guys, where we can't play nice with these motherfuckers anymore. Like, honestly, dude, like... the censorship regime, these motherfuckers that want to run around and say racism and bigotry or whatever, fuck them. We need to go at them hard, okay? You can't reason with these liberals. You can't reason with these pro-censorship tycoons. You got to just let them know that they're fucking stupid, okay? I fucking said it. Enough is enough. Enough is enough, man. Like, I'm not going to sit here and give these guys the benefit of the doubt and assume that they're reasonable. They're fucking not. So I'm going to go ahead and let them know that they're... because they are a lot of the times, right? Being posh and nice and poised with these is no longer going to work, all right? So, look, I might not be as polite about it. Can I articulate myself in a, less crass fashion? Sure. But you know what? That's not going to garner the attention. That's not going to garner the clicks, the likes, etc. We need motherfuckers to tune in, all right? And you don't get it by being boring and polite to these motherfuckers, because quite frankly, these guys have had the censorship regime for too goddamn long. Guys, for the past 10 plus years, this wokeism, this leftism, this fucking censorship regime has been running wild. And it's time to put this shit to an end. Trump coming into office and finally acknowledging that big tech absolutely colludes with the government to censor motherfuckers, right, is a step in the right direction. The emergence of Rumble, the emergence of X. People are tired of the censorship. You guys see a theme here? Why did Kendrick Lamar's Super Bowl performance flop? Why did Kanye West steal attention from the Super Bowl on a poorly run ad? Why did Kamala Harris lose the election? Why did superstars, A-list celebrities like Eminem and all the others that endorsed Kamala, why did they all fail? I'll tell you why. Because we're tired of the political correctness. We really are. Because everyone knows it's not authentic anymore. Everyone knows we have some racism in us, some misogyny in us, some bigotry in us. We all know that we make jokes behind the scenes with our friends, our close friends, our loved ones, right? That might not be appropriate for certain settings. But there's a certain level of respect that you garner when you speak in a candid manner. But that means you use swears every now and then. Maybe you might not be politically correct. Sometimes you might come off as crass. You might even be rude. But guess what? We're at a point now where we need to set boundaries, set standards, and we got to let people know that we're not fucking taking this bullshit no more. Remember that fucking song? We're not gonna take it. Remember that? No, we ain't gonna take it. Remember that? That's what we need to be right now. If you stand for free speech, if you're right wing, if you believe that there's two genders, if you believe that men and women are different, if you believe the nuclear family is important, if you don't agree with whores, all right? If you're pro Second Amendment, if you're pro First Amendment, we need to fucking stand up. There's no more, well, you know, I think blah, blah. Fuck you niggas, man. Anti-Semitism, racism, bigotry, colorism. Shut the fuck up. We don't care anymore. All right? We're all slashing. We're doing what the fuck we want to say. We're making jokes. We're making white jokes. We're making black jokes. We're making Muslim jokes. We're making fun of women. We're making fun of idiots. We're making fun of again. Like, bro, we're tired of this shit. All right? Motherfuckers just want to say what the fuck they want to say. All right? That's what it is. The censorship is going on for way too fucking long, and niggas are tired of it. There's been an uptick in... You want to know why? You want to know why, Jonathan Greenblatt, you fucking retard? Because you and your cronies over at the ADL have been systematically suppressing and censoring people for decades. Since the early 2000s. Since the ADL's been formed. So yeah, now that there's platforms like X and Rumble, people are gonna go fucking nuts because they haven't had this ability to speak freely before. Ta-da! That's what happens when you suppress people. That's what happens when people aren't allowed to be free. They go wild when they get the chance. If you let the ideas organically get to the marketplace, people are gonna figure out which ideas work and which ones don't. I am against all censorship. I don't give a fuck. You guys can go ahead and criticize. You guys know I grew up Muslim. You guys know this. My family's from Sudan. You guys call me a sand nigga all the time. You guys make fun of the Prophet. You guys say fuck Islam all the time in my chat. You guys say Muhammad was a PDF all the time in the chat. Though that goes against my religion, I protect your guys' ability to say this shit. I don't even really moderate my chat. I'll let y'all niggas say whatever you guys want. The only thing I fucking might censor you for is if you fuck with the volume or whatever, because that hurts the quality of the show. But other than that, I really let y'all say whatever the fuck you guys want. I don't moderate my comments. I let you guys say whatever you guys want. Meanwhile, bitch-ass YouTubers like Abba and Preach moderate their comments. A lot of these commentators, a lot of these haters, they moderate their shit. Right? So look, man, I truly do believe in free speech, even speech that I don't like or I don't agree with or might be not to my benefit. But what I've realized is censorship is never the answer, and the ADL's learning this now. Uptick in racism, uptick in XYZ. Yeah, this is what happens when you censor people for years. When they finally get the ability to speak freely on platforms like X or in Rumble, the fucking dam is destroyed. Niggas are gonna go wild. Like on some fucking Hulkamania type shit. You have no one to blame but yourself. ADL, SPLC, Media Matters, all you piece of shit organizations that sit there and suppress the free speech of Americans. Trump winning the election, the destruction of DEI, the lack of care for reparations, this is all a valid response to years upon years of censorship. And you have no one to blame but yourself. The establishment has no one to blame but themselves for doing this shit for so goddamn long. Of course people are gonna go fucking nuts when they finally have the ability to speak freely. Of course, dude. What the fuck do you think? Now, people like Mark Zuckerberg are playing ball. Oh, well, you know what? Maybe we'll allow a little bit more freedom of expression. Again, and I find it hilarious that someone like Piers Morgan, who has a show that's called Uncensored, is calling for censorship. Dude, you're either censorship or you're not. The only time I think anyone should ever be censored is if they're gonna go ahead and it's imminent incitement to violence. You're calling on the death of people, like imminently. Cool. Yes, that is a problem. Because now we're talking about hurting people. That's an issue. That is the one exception. Don't even bring porn into this conversation because porn doesn't count. Porn isn't political discourse. It's not. And anyone that sits there and tries to conflate, well, you're for censorship because you don't want pornography. Bro, come on, man. Come on, we can't even, that's not even like a real rebuttal at all. That's low IQ, straw man, weak argument. Pornography and political discourse or speech are not the same whatsoever.
Egregious, but they didn't cross a line outside of what is within the bounds of the First Amendment. When it gets to something like calling for violence, I think that's pretty clear cut.
Yeah.
So from what I saw, there were probably like 3 or 4 tweets.
Yeah.
Maybe somewhere between 2 to 4 tweets that crossed that line. So I'm not going to sit here and defend Kanye. I will defend the principle of free speech. Like Myron said, I don't think that pornography should be on X anyway. I think that's a whole separate conversation. So I think I can say that I think a lot of what he said was wrong, and I can be very critical of it. But the vast majority of it, I would not say is ban-worthy. However, there were a couple posts where he did cross the lines, and it's up to X how and when they enforce that.
Yeah, and Rabbi Shmuley, I would say that I'm a big fan of Elon Musk, and I'm a big fan of his free speech defense, which I think he's been very proactive in. But I think he's discovered it is very complicated sometimes, because there's no doubt to me that if any ordinary person had been spewing what Kanye was spewing, they'd have been suspended very quickly, as they would be on any social media platform. And what struck me as astonishing, I even directly posted to Elon saying, can you please do something about this? This guy is doing this with utter impunity and quite deliberately testing your limits of what free speech are. And the truth is, there are limits. That's why the First Amendment has limits to it. And that's why you've got to have some limits. Otherwise, people do what Kanye West did, which, by the way...
No, because, and that's see, you can't have limits. Because the problem with having limits is, and the only limit, like I said before, is the one on imminent violence. Look, we don't condone violence over here. That's not acceptable. But everything else is fair game, bro. Because the problem is this. Once you get into this like whole limit thing, then guess who becomes the arbiter? Now it becomes subjective. And that's how we got in this problem in the first place. Guys, censorship never starts with them like taking away your valid speech. It starts with them like taking away small things and then slowly working their way up. That's how it always starts. You know, the whole phrase of you give them an inch, they take a mile, that's how it became. They never come in and say, yeah, we're going to take a mile. No, they start with like, oh, yeah, well, you can't say this. Try to stay away from saying this. Stay away from that. And then next thing you know, yeah, you can't talk about this topic. It always grows. I told y'all, it's a fucking parasite that feeds and feeds and feeds. Like I said before, for some of you guys that are just joining the broadcast, that's why I said we need to protect even the most extremist of views as long as there's no violence. And the reason why is because those people on the front line pushing the envelope, okay? If they're gone, that's the first line of defense gone. Once they're gone, they're going to come after everybody else. When you encroach on someone's rights, it always becomes worse and worse and worse. It's a slippery slope. And anytime you impose limits, then it becomes subjective. Next thing you know, that's how you end up with the censorship regime. Like when you get banned off of like YouTube or Instagram or some other shit, it ends up being some purple-haired motherfucker that's super woke, that doesn't like what you said, because to them, they look at it subjectively and they're like, well, you know what? I think this violates the terms of service. And then they subjectively ban you off of their own beliefs. Trust me, it's happening at all these social media platforms. That's why there's not equal punishment. That's why one guy can say something, doesn't get banned, and then another person says the same shit or something not as bad, and they get banned. Because it's subjective. And that's problematic in itself. Once it becomes subjective, it's an issue. That's why I'm like, dude, we need to damn near make it, we got to be as close as possible to free speech absolutism. Because once you start putting limits, it starts to become subjective. Once it starts to become subjective, people have their own interpretation on what's violative and what isn't. You see what I mean? Especially in the tech world where they all lean left. Some purple-haired motherfuckers over here disliking what you got to say about 2 genders, and they ban you for hate speech. Because you said that there's 2 genders. We were in such a fucking Looney Tune world that we had to get the President of the United States to make a fucking executive order that there's 2 genders. One more time for you niggas. I don't think people understand this shit, man. We were in such a crazy fucking state that the President of the United States needed to come in, sign an executive order saying that there's 2 fucking genders. Chat. That's where we are in society now. We have gone so far left that we no longer adhere to biological fucking reality. Trump and J.D. Vance campaigned on common sense. If we continue to go left like this, guess what? Motherfuckers are going to start getting offended when you say the sky is blue. They're going to need an executive order to say the sky is blue. 1 + 1 is 2. That's where we're going, chat. I don't think you guys see this shit. That's what I'm trying to explain. And these motherfuckers that think that there's 93 genders, etc., they're the ones overseeing your Instagram account. They're the ones overseeing your Facebook account. They're the ones overseeing your YouTube account. They're the ones overseeing your fucking X account, maybe with 1.0. That's why when people randomly get banned or get suspended or whatever, no one knows, like, what the fuck? Why? It's because it's subjective. And when things are subjective, it becomes problematic. This is why I have such an issue with censorship, because it's subjective. That's the root cause of this fucking issue.